Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Guile here, and welcome back to the Forged Alliance Forever promotional series. It's custom 5v5 pro level magic on the cards this afternoon. Exciting stuff, I'm sure you'll agree. First of all, people still getting in contact asking me, Guile, how on earth can I submit a replay for consideration? Well, it's very simple, and I'm not going to go into it. Why? Because there is a handy bit of blurb in the description below this and each and every one of my videos, which explains how to do just that. Perfect instructions, so concise a technophobic squirrel could follow them, and to be clear, that's a squirrel who's phobic of technology, not techno. Although I don't suppose a squirrel would like techno, but that's a whole bunch of tangents we do not need to go down. We can get on with today's game. It's going to go down on a generated map. Exciting stuff, I'm sure you'll agree. I'm ready, you guys are ready, and the players are sure as hell ready. So let's go on over to the game zone and see how they're going to get on. Ching. Ka-ching. Instant loading. It's going to be a good day. We'll call this team 1 up here at the top, this team 2 down here at the bottom. That's not really top and bottom, that's left and right, but you know what I mean, and you'll let me get away with it so I don't have to start again. Going first up here at the top left, it's the Wreck. There he is, going Seraphim in Cyanide Cyan, opening first air. Interesting. Team member number 2 over here, we have Nightmare. Another Seraphim, this time in Spetsnaz Green, opening first land. Team member number 3 for Team 1, my good friend Swackle over here. He's going Aeon, opening first land, going Hallyborange Orange. Team member number 4 over here, BRS DCC97, or DC as we tend to refer to him here at Guilecast. I used to see this guy all the time. I haven't seen him for a while, but there he is. And he's going Aeon in Mellow Yellow, opening first land. And last but not least for Team 1 in Baby Pink, none other than my good friend Olix. There he is, going Aeon, opening first land. So there we have it. So what have we got here? It's a whole lot of floaty, naughty, set up perfectly to traverse this little river in the center here. What have we got there? It's 1, 2, 3 Aeon and 2 Seraphim there for Team 1. Let's check out Team 2. Over here at the top we have 7. He's going UEF in Elephantine Grey, opening first land. Team member number 2 down here in Breast Cancer Awareness Pink. It's Arch Simcat. There he is, opening first land and going UEF. Team member number 4 on the front line over here. It's Dro, our first Cybrin of the day, in Baby Blue, opening first land. Team member number 4. Did I already say 4? Because that was definitely 3. Now it's 4. It's Rowan Morse YT. Here he is. He is going Seraphim in Lime Green, opening first land, second air, and last but not least, right at the bottom, another Cybrin. It's Tex. He is going first land in Combat Green. So a different set of less floaty, naughty there from Team 2. We've got 2 UEF, 2 Cybrin, and 1 Seraphim. So there's going to be a lot of one-way directional travel, I suspect, from the T1 spam perspective, moving left to right. Checking out the mass reclaim situation, because people always on at me not to, to do more of that. There's a lot of mass, or a decent amount of mass, around the middle, around this little section here, and here. There's a major desert of reclaim, a desert of the real. It's been very unkind to both Tex and the Wreck. No real reclaim for them. He's already moving in towards the river, where you can see there's a Salem Wreck, which inexplicably is considerably more mass, than the much larger visual representation there of the naval yard. But then, of course, I suppose it probably costs a lot more to build a Salem than it does a T1 naval yard, so that would make sense. But there it is. So a couple of bits of reclaim he can capitalize on there, but otherwise he's been a little bit stiffed. Players near the center and around the edges here and here will fare better. We can speed this up because we've got the first harassing unit. It's inbound from the Wreck. Gets a bomb away and lands it perfectly right on board an engineer there belonging to 7, who's going to suffer another loss immediately after, and maybe another one still. What a wonderful opening bombing run. 3 for 3 there from the Wreck, thanks to bringing along a little scout plane to run intel for him. 4 for 4. That is a spectacular opening, and he's not done yet as he moves on to Arch, picks up another engineer right in the backfield there. There's another one here. This is one of the most impressive T1 bombing cleanup operations I think I've ever seen. Is he going to miss? Yes, he does. Drops way short there, thanks to some nice micro there from Arch. Bomber's taken some hits from an Archer there, which came off the conveyor belt, so he's going to move on out to alternative targets, picks off a T1 NG there as well, belonging to Dro. He's up to 7 kills now. 2 more engineers clumped up in the main base. Are they going to get picked off? Yes, they are. Up to 9 kills. 9 engineers off this one T1 bomber. Doesn't manage to get a bomb away again there. Nice bit of micro from Dro, closing the distance Raimier style to avoid another bombing run. That Archer we saw a moment ago moves into range. An Interceptor flies straight past it from Rowan, but it's okay because he's got an ISIL. It finally gets shot down, but 9 engineers. What a wonderful piece of early harassment there from the wreck. If you want to know what Bomber First looks like when it pays for itself, that's a classic example. Massive expansionary hampering there on the northern team players for Team 2. Tex down here at the bottom didn't suffer at the hands of the wreck. He's going to get his hands on his own wrecks here, scooping what mass is left over there. It looks like he actually got the lion's share under attack down there of the scoopable mass. If we go to the reclaim counter, Tex is on 958 and Olix is on 250 or 235 reclaims. So all of that mass in the center he managed to pick up. So he was on the ball with the reclaim side of things, wasted no time, got straight out there to scoop the mass, and that will help his start no end, which is a good thing as well because he's already got floaty, naughty traversing the river, as does the northern players for Team 2. Swackle moving across the river there. He's also getting an upgrade of something. He's currently paused that. It's about half done. No doubt we'll restart that again in just a moment. Jester out, T1 Bomber out for Tex, trying to force Olex back into the water, and he's getting work done with those. No floating anti-air there for Olex to defend with. Tex picking off a Mex over there. And actually looks for a moment when you're zoomed out like you can get submerged there, but this little section here is too shallow for a comm to hide in. You might be able to move down here, in which case you probably could get submerged. Tex and Olex now going at it toe to toe, and lots of interceptors tangling above them. Tex needs to be careful here though. There's an awful lot of Auroras, and as we've just said, you cannot get submerged on this little gangway here, this little causeway. It's shallow. Head just above water still. Olex pursuing, but his gun underwater, so he cannot target over there. Auroras, maybe you can. Maybe I spoke too soon. Maybe it's only up here that you can't. He is just dipping below the edge here. You can see it goes a little bit deeper. But the problem is that's a lot of spam, and Olex's comm, which is following him across the river now. Engineers back here throwing up some point defense, a place for him to retreat to, but he's already down into deep into the yellow, almost into the red now. 2,700 hit points, and he's got no choice but to try and get back into the river, but that's another big shallow bit there. Is he going to make it? Sub 1,000 hit points. I think he probably isn't. Oh, woeful miscalculation from otherwise a very skilled player. Tex, 2,000 rated player, highest rated player on Team 2, bites the dust inside 10 minutes there, just after 6.5 minutes to be precise. That is a painful loss for Team 2. You know what else is painful? The full share conditions, which means somewhere a ferry has succumbed to terminal hangnails. Poor thing. How utterly tragic. Meanwhile, Seven fighting the good fight up at the top of the screen, having just lost a teammate. Arch Simcat back here, facing off against Swackle, who's gone double gun upgrade on board that Aeon Commander. Arch backing up away from that confrontation, doesn't like the look of that at all. Stupid shallow water, says Tex. Yeah, I mean, it's hard. This is a generated map, right? So he doesn't know at the outset how deep these sections of water are. So it's very easy to make a miscalculation like that, and unfortunately, that is just the way it goes. Swackle advancing, bringing the pressure. Arch all by himself over here. Does have Riptides though, so he's transitioned to T2. That is what he's going to need. Amphibious tanks to be able to stand toe-to-toe with these Auroras over the water and counter-attack. And the Wreck is joining the party as well, advancing on 7, who, remember, is pretty badly battered after his earlier engagements. 5,500 hit points there. Swackle taking a lot of fire, and we've got Tech 2 gunships in from Rowan, who has benefited, of course, from the demise of his teammate Tex, and absorbed all of his eco and his factories. Swackle on about 7,000 hit points. Backed right up to a factory position that he's throwing down there. A little beachhead on the river, but 7 in trouble. On the run now with a paltry 2k hit points. The Wreck with that gun upgrade, fighting the good fight. Trying to keep that T1 and T2 spam at bay, but we've got Corsairs inbound now from Dro. $6,500 hit points on the Wreck that any aircraft would have to chew through if they want to get a kill here. Swackle clearing a path with that epic range on that commander after those upgrades. But look at the two commanders defending for Team 2. Badly battered. But that's a lot of Corsairs going after Swackle. Major air incursion. Swackle into the red. Maybe he needs to think about backing up. 2,500 hit points left there. And a wave of Vulthus coming in after the Wreck as well. Oh, the Wreck getting wrecked. Swackle down to just a couple of hundred hit points, but I think it's the Wreck that's going down, if not both of them, but the Wreck is going first. Bosh! Swackle still in trouble, 60 hit points. And down he goes too to the Corsairs from Dro. That is just what the doctor called for if you're rooting for Team 2. Down Swackle and the Wreck go. Both of them. Nightmare is going to inherit their bases. What's he looking at generated wise? So now generated eco, he's pulling in 134 mass per tick. Can he continue to hold the line though up front? The Wreck and Swackle did do a lot of damage. Look at all of these redundant mexes, mass points here. Early harass, hampered expansion up here for 7, of course. Well, for just about all of them. But now Olex is in trouble. Oh my word. What is going on? Massive collapse from Team 1. He continued to press down here, and he actually controlled Kada's comm to try and make sure he killed off as many of those air units as possible. Gunships were all over him, and now DC's in trouble. Renegades and Vulthus from Dro and Rowan swarming all over him, but he's under double bubble coverage, and there's a lot of T1 anti-air, and now a relief squadron brought in by Nightmare to help chop those gunships down. So DC's going to be okay for the time being, but wow. Talk about pressure being brought. To be honest, though, I mean, they've all died. Every one of the 3 deaths from Team 1 has been on this side of the river, so they've walked into it. Riptides finally crossing over the river from Arch, looking for vulnerable resourcing option targets to take down. T2 mechs is back here. Not a lot in the way of ground-based firepower to help defend against that. A little cheeky T1 bombing run there from Arch as well. Picks off some engineers and maybe a T1 P-Gen or something in there. Corsairs for Rowan. Missing an opportunity on some clumped up NGs. Ultimately getting shot down by defending interceptors from Nightmare. Nightmare just about to complete an upgrade to T3 Air. There it is. I'm doubting he's got the power to sustainably produce air superiority fighters, and indeed he looks like he's working on T3 engineers to begin with. Need to get those power plants up and running. Radar system going up after the ping. Sensible decision there. But wow, what an opening. I can't believe Olix's death down here after seeing what happened to his teammates, but I guess it's easy to do. Gun upgrade from Rowan. Splash, he's already got one gun upgrade on that Seraphim Com, and he's already got nano repair as well. I'm hoping he's not going to go cross the river and do the same thing. T1 bombers smash some of the lines of T1 Aurora spam belonging to DC at the bottom of the screen. Let's just take a look at total ecos so far. And of course, full shares on, so it's not like they've been reclaiming whole bases to distort the figures. This is pretty representative. We've got about a 6k differential in favor of Team 1. So despite losing their players, they have been up on generated eco. Again, not an enormous amount, but enough so that it's worthy at least of a mention. Arch airlifting T2 units across the river there, taking over a couple of pillars to assist the Riptides, but not in great enough number, I think, to secure any kind of LZ for continued operations. That's a larger group, but most of it T1 spam. Yenzines from Nightmare finding no difficulties there, but look at these little ferry waypoints here. They are bringing spam across the river en masse. Nightmare's going to be very, very tied up there dealing with that for some time. But a lot of blazes coming in with DC against this bottom base, formerly of Tex, now of course of Rowan. DC has brought his comm across. He's got the, what is it called? That disabling field, I do forget. I'm going to have to look that up now because it's going to bug me. EC Chrono Dampener, that's it.
Under attack.
But now he's going up against Rowan's commander, who's got double gun upgrades. And look at him shed the hit points. What a horrible decision that was. Dropping like flies, and suddenly Team 1 now consisting entirely of Nightmare. How did you are the man, the crusher. Well, it's double gun on what is a very chunky commander. Rowan, like an absolute boss. With the splash, with the rate of fire, just tore his way through DC. Wondering if this game is a meme. I'm wondering if Jagged Appliance casted this game live. Reference to him in local chat from the players. Highly entertaining game, either way. They do get some bombs off, and they get a nice little collection of T1 engineers for their trouble there, those T1 bombers. But now we are entering the later phases. We've got ASFs out on the field. Dro out front trying to defend against a new wave of inbound spam. Dro with one single gun upgrade. Needs to be a little bit careful. Never know what's about to cross the divide air-wise, especially now that you've seen that there are operational air superiority fighters in play. One Corsair attempting to be a hero, getting dropped in the drink for his trouble. And siege tanks join the party. It is a 1v4. Tex, the first player to go down, is the last one that has gone down for Team 2. Everybody else that's fallen has been on the western side of the river. It's just partly a nature of the map. This is actually, it's only a 10k map. This is really close proximity to one another. And the commanders just haven't been able to find shelter. These crossing points, very, very shallow. So it's not like you can drop back to safety. I think the only way to really be sensible playing this map is to not use your comm offensively. I know that's very much a cardinal sin in SOCCOM, but just use him defensively. Try and hold your opponent at bay and hope that they get themselves gizzarded, as Team 1 have done, because as we keep mentioning, every single death has been on this side. Tex did die down here on his own side. I suppose that's this side as well. But otherwise, every single death has been in enemy territory. And it's actually a question that players who are new to SOCCOM always ask, why do people risk their commanders? Well, it's quite simple usually. Certainly in the early to mid-game, if you don't, your opponent will, and then you will lose, because they are so strong, as well as them being the object of the game. With their upgrades, they are incredibly powerful, as we are seeing here from Rowan, but is he about to bite off more than he can chew? Crossing the river, look at the hit points vanish, and that's with the nano repair. 100 hit point a second regen, Blazes tearing him apart, and Bombers harassing overhead into the red now. 2,300 hit points and falling, with no hope in sight of him getting to safer territory. Surely he's going to go down. Oh, but the Blazes have run out. Did I speak too soon? More Bombers inbound. No. Down he goes at 20 minutes and 41 seconds. So Nightmare claws a kill back for his team. Dro inherits the rest of Rowan's infrastructure and will now be handling all defensive and offensive operations in the south. Another wave of T1 bombers. They don't make it past the tracer emplacements that are dotted now all along this section in the middle on the east bank. Clumped engineers with an attack ping on them as bombers circle overhead. That is a juicy opportunity right there. Just one bomb right in the middle. Do it! Alas, no. Another big counter push from Nightmare. Lots and lots of blazes. Served him very well down there a moment ago on that attack. Served him very well at taking out Rowan. Drone nearby, does have the gun upgrade, has the odd Tech 2 point defense, and he's working on T1s now over here. One shield left in operation, down that goes, and the blazes are now exposed. ASFs for Dro on the field now, but much less numerous than Nightmare. Nightmare has a huge quantity of interceptors, but by the looks of things, they are all bingo on fuel. Yes, indeed they are. Otham's crossing the river, moving in towards Archer's position. Oh! What on earth? What got him? It must have been the blazes. I looked away for just a second at the wrong moment. Olex thinks I'm not going to love this game. Why not? Why wouldn't I love this game? Nothing excites me more than regular, consistent death. Comms dropping by the wayside, especially pros. Little bombing run on the blazes as they continue to push forward. Resourcing options vulnerable, everything being transferred in the south over to Arch. Seven's like, I don't want to deal with any of that. I just want my little base up here. You handle it. The wreck. Guile doesn't like full share. Yeah, but, you know, there's lots of things I don't like and I still have to do. School runs, parents' evening. See where this is going. Sports days. Doesn't mean it's not entertaining in general. It certainly has its own unique charms, full share. And Nightmare is putting all of the mass he's inherited to spectacularly good use. And what have we got here? Seven in trouble as Nightmare crosses over with a huge quantity of Othams, surrounds the com, picks him off, and now it's a 1v1. What a comeback. It was a 1v4 a couple of minutes ago. And one by one, Nightmare has bossed his way through to wiping out the opposition. And now it has to be said, it's a 1900 by 1900, but a mass advantage for Nightmare and a tactical advantage on the field, I think it's fair to say. It is Nightmare's to lose at this point, which is pretty sensational comeback-wise. Blazes still pouring across the river in the south. How are we doing on ASF numbers? Arch has 31. Nightmare has 52. So solid air advantage. And he's also got that horde of interceptors, although they're all out of fuel, of course. He's got a couple of strap bombers lurking around. And I did see, I'm sure I saw somewhere for Arch, some T3 gunships. There they are. A couple of whalers. He's going to need those along with the T1 bombers and some more down here, look, to kill off these blazes. And he needs to do it ASAP. Blaze is in danger of getting in towards these T3 power generators, but I think he's just running out of units. I'm surprised he hasn't brought his superior air force in. One ambassador strap bomber going after the units down here. That factory long since destroyed up there, belonging to Swackle. presumably subsequent owners as well after his demise. Oh, don't chill there with your Othams taking point defense fire. Pull those back immediately. See, these units just getting absolutely obliterated from the sky, completely uncontested. Nightmare with a good engage should be able to hold the field airwise. Oh, is that still the case though? 49 ASFs for Arch, 67 for Nightmare. He has got an edge, and of course he does have all those interceptors, which will help a little bit. But look out! And Ethota crosses over, going straight into the heart towards Arch's commander, tearing things up. Whalers being brought back to try and contend with that. If this doesn't initiate the air battle we've been waiting for, I don't know what will. Arch bugging out of his main base with his commander. Ethota inbound. T1 bombers and whalers lock on to that experimental assault bot. And this will be the air fight engaging right now. ASFs going after one another. It's hard to tell who's having the better run. It looks like it might actually be going better for Arch because he's got a lot of anti-air coverage dotted around. All of the F production facilities have died, the P-gens have died, but importantly, the experimental is down and the comm, Archer's comm, is safe. And I can't believe it, but Nightmare's run out of ASFs. So he is actually in serious trouble. There's plenty of ASFs left, and the gunships are all very healthy. Nightmare working on experimental bomber, but his comm is wide open and out completely vulnerable in the open air with gunships and strap bombers inbound. I cannot believe this. This is redonkulous. How did he lose that air fight? Boom, baby! What a comeback! A comeback from a comeback. That's ridiculous. That is absolutely ridiculous. Somehow Nightmare lost that air engagement when he was up about 20 ASFs, and he had way more interceptors as well. He just didn't seem to do it. Arch had a wonderful engage. There are still T1 anti-air emplacements kicking around, but I didn't think there was that much flak. There were, what do we got here? So we had Cougars on the ground, some at least. We do have a Myrmidon here. So there was, yeah, and some flak. So there were anti-air units dotted around, and it was just enough to turn the tables, I guess. Wow. Another SAM up here as well. That had 51 kills to its name over the course of the game. That had 47. The Cougar had 10. And that won the game. Basically, it allowed Arch to win that air engagement, and then the gunships just crossed over and killed the commander. Unreal. What a ridiculous game. You see, and they said I wasn't going to like it just because full share's on. I cast games with full share on all the time. I just moan about it when I cast. Don't be deterred, guys. Send your replays in. I will only moderately chastise you. Hope you enjoyed that, guys. There's always more to come from me in the future. Don't forget, if you feel so inclined, there is the Patreon for a mere $1 a month. Think what you spend $1 on. You can barely buy anything for $1 these days. $1 a month. We're up to some 30-something casts in that area of premium-only content. You can head on over there as soon as you sign up and check those out, guys. It's all waiting for you, and interact with my own little Guilecast premium community because they're all awesome. All right, that's enough of that jazz. Until next time, guys, stay well and stay safe. This is Guile, signing out.